Gurmahagat Chair. I want to raise in this chamber the difference between political ambition and political entitlement. And it has come very much to the fore during this presidential campaign. Ambition is when you're not happy with the state of affairs, the status quo. You're not happy with your role and status in life. But in order to change that, you put the work in. And I think we see two candidates who have put considerable work in the last number of weeks. And it's a bruising context. Entitlement is when you are not happy with the status quo, but it's everyone else's fault. And unfortunately, during this election campaign, we have seen growing voices and a clamour for those who feel that somehow they should be entitled to be on the ballot for the presidential election without actually having done the work. And now those voices, with their growing anger and discontent and disrespect for our democratic processes, are asking us to spoil the vote. And I find that reprehensible and unacceptable. And I'll tell you why. Today, I hosted in Buswell's Hotel a group of disabled citizens who are advocating for their role and status in Irish society. Some of them have to be lifted out of bed in the morning, hoisted, toileted, dressed. And yet, they got in here to make their point in a respectful manner. Last week in the Helix in DCU, we had dozens of disabled citizens and carers who, despite the enormous challenges they face, came in to participate in our democratic process. Now, I don't agree with many of the positions that have been put forward by some of the candidates, but I respect each and every one of them, and I wish them well in this contest. And I noticed last night on Virgin Media how tired Heather Humphreys looked. And I've seen over the last couple of weeks how tired Catherine Connolly is. But there is a cohort of would-be candidates here who did not put in the footwork, who did not canvass sufficiently to get their signatures. And we all know, every single one of us, you Chair, you Canara, the calculus of numbers is harsh. If you don't have the numbers, you don't get to sit on this seat. You don't get to represent the people that put us here. There is a growing authoritarian and coercive voice in Irish society which transplants onto the right that is demanding that we subvert our democratic processes. And they're demanding that we spoil the vote. And I think after this presidential election, whatever the outcome, I would like to see a debate in this chamber about the language and the vocabulary that we need to mobilise to protect these houses and our democratic processes. Here, here.